In this module, we shall study about the themes and controversies in human resource management. There is a common belief among the management thinkers that the challenge today is not technology but the art of managing human beings at work. Some of the thinkers further emphasize that the future economic and strategic advantage will be taken up by those organizations which are competitive in managing and retaining talented employees. If we look at the type of resources which are available for an organization, namely physical, organizational and human resources, human resources can be regarded as the most critical component. Prior to the world wars, the personnel function was prevalent where the record keeping of the employees was the main aspect of it. Post World War II, that the productivity of the employees and thus profitability are directly related to motivation level of the employees, and hence the human relations movement started. Further, a systematic classification of large number of employees also started with listing of tasks, duties and responsibilities through job description. After this, the era of social issues came up, wherein the personnel department was burdened with legislative compliances. No unfair discrimination in employment practices was looked into. Further, the data pertaining to all the employment practices such as recruitment, training, compensation and benefits thereof had to be assimilated and recorded. It was about this time, that is, the period from 1960 to 1980, the personnel department were beginning to be called as human resource department, and the inception of human resource management took place. In other words, effective and correct practices in human resource management were starting to affect the bottom line of the firms, so there was a significant growth of human resource departments and computer technology had advanced to the point where it was beginning to be used. Firms today realize that innovative and creative employees who hold the key to organizational knowledge provide a sustainable competitive advantage because, unlike other resources, intellectual capital is difficult to imitate by competitors. Accordingly, the people management function has become strategic in its importance and outlook and is geared to attract, retain and engage talent. Typical human resource programs involve things such as record keeping, recruiting, selection, training, employee relations and compensation. However, all these programs involve multiple activities, and these human resource activities can be classified into three broad categories. First is transactional, second is traditional and third is transformational. As per Wright, McMahon, Snail and Gerhardt 1998. Transactional activities involve day-to-day transactions that have to deal mostly with record keeping, for example, entering payroll information, employee status changes and the administration of employee benefits. Traditional activities involve human resource programs such as planning, recruiting, selection, training, compensation and performance management. These activities can have strategic value for the organization if their results or outcomes are consistent with the strategic goals of the organization. Transformational activities are those activities that add value to the organization, for example, cultural or organizational change, structural realignment, strategic redirection and increasing innovation. Human resource management can simply be defined as a distinctive approach to employment management which seeks to achieve competitive advantage through the strategic deployment of a highly committed and capable workforce using an integrated array of cultural, structural, and personnel techniques. This definition is given by Story. After studying this module, we shall be able to first comprehend the nature of human resource management, analyze the evolution of human resource management, understand the themes in human resource management, and finally, understand and analyze the controversies of human resource management. So, we first start with the themes in human resource management. Human resource management is an area of management which is ever accommodating, including changes which show up during the transformation phase. With changing business environment and changes which are technology driven, human resource management and its parameters also refine and reform. In this context, the themes of human resource management can be discussed as follows: productivity through people, the adoption of high performance work practices, which can also be equated as high commitment or high involvement work practices, are intended to achieve better individual, team, and organizational performance by increasing employee commitment and involvement. In the pretext, the concept of employee engagement can also be discussed, wherein an employee experiences high level of alignment and meaningfulness which ultimately lead to higher job performance and job involvement as per Kumar and Singh in 2014 and Kumar 2014. These are typically thought of as comprising bundles of sophisticated human resource practices in the areas of recruitment and selection, employee involvement, engagement, commitment, and rewards. Now we discuss the work environment with respect to human resource management. The work environment is becoming more and more dynamic, and so are human resource management practices. The new redefined working in the organization at a micro level comprising of teamwork, cross training, multi skilling, and problem solving groups to increase functional flexibility, participation in the design of work processes, and the sharing of task specific knowledge. These are a few examples to show the relationship between work environment and the practices of HRM. Further, the use of refined human resource practices in recruitment and selection, for example, the use of psychometric testing, personality profiling, and competency and performance tests, etc., for a wide range of key or core employees, including non managerial ones, give a very good results. Now we discuss the change management and the policies of human resource management. The only constant is change has become a cliche but reflects the acknowledgement now that the competitive global economy and continuous increasing technological advances are realities. Physical resources are relatively easy to change. Human ones are much more challenging. Human resource management is often tasked with taking the lead and coordinating change across the organization. However, it has been seen that any proposed change in the structure of the organization or the way of working is always met with staunch opposition from the employees. The employees always want to maintain the status quo because bringing in any change requires efforts and other operating energies which the employees resist. However, organizations require making changes, sometimes a small change and sometimes radical. For this, the organizations require making their human resources act and change. Kurt Lewin formulation of defreezing, changing and refreezing acts as an aid and tool to modern day organizations in order to implement the change. After this change, we have learning organizations. The learning organizations are defined as an organization which encourages learning at all levels and thereby brings about continuous and by definition often unpredictable change to itself. This is a consequence of the realization that employees are expected and encouraged to learn all the time and should employ their learning by being innovative and enhancing performance. And that to pay someone to work is to pay them to learn. Then we have the relationship between knowledge management and human resource management. Knowledge management emphasizes using the ideas and experiences of employees, customers, and suppliers to improve the organization's performance. We have to see the declining role of trade union with regard to the policies of human resource management. Employee relations in a unitarist environment, that is, trade unions, are in a historically precipitous decline in most advanced economies and especially in new industries. But the smallest employers have to find means of communicating with their employees and achieving perceptions of fairness and legitimacy in pay rates and conditions of employment. Then we have finally international scene of human resource management. International human resource management can be defined as set of activities aimed managing organizational human resources at international level to achieve organizational objectives and achieve competitive advantage over competitors at national and international level. International human resource management includes typical human resource management functions such as recruitment, selection, training and development, performance appraisal, and dismissal done at international level, and additional activities such as global skills management, expatriate management, and so on. Now we'll study about the controversies in human resource management. The first controversy is concerned with conceptualizing human resource management. The development of human resource management has been somehow haphazard. There has been no single and universal adoption of its practices. This can be attributed to the fact that human resource management can be interpreted differently in theoretical, strategic, and operational terms. Due to the very nature of human resource management, its meaning is open for deliberations, discussions, and thereby also marred in controversies. Boxall and Purcell have opted for an all-inclusive definition that says that human resource management includes the firm's work systems and its model of employment. It embraces both individual and collective aspects of people management. It is not restricted to one style of ideology. Then second is human resource management mapping. Guest adds to the debate by asserting four elements which make the foundations of human resource management. First is strategic integration. This is related with the ability to integrate human resource management issues into strategic plans. Second is high commitment. This is concerned with behavioral commitment and attitudinal commitment. The third is high quality. This is related with the managerial and employee behavior. And then finally, flexibility. It is concerned with functional flexibility and adaptable organizational structure. Stories a human resource management model helps in defining the main features of human resource management. The model is based on the belief that people make the difference with respect to organizational performance, that people decisions are strategic decisions, and the human resource management policies must support each other and corporate strategy in an integrated manner. Further, the model emphasizes that as the human resource is a distinct factor for any organization which stimulates organizational growth, therefore, the selection of the employees should be based on careful selection and development policy. As a strategy, the human resource model of Story advocates that human resource decisions impact the strategies of any organization, where the involvement of the top management is required and the human resource strategies should have integration with the business strategy. The model also suggests that managing the culture of the organization is more important to the management of procedures and systems. And there should be a system integrated action on selection, communication, training, reward, and development. Now we move on to the human resource management model. Additionally, with regard to the above model developed by Story, the Story maintains that there are two types of human resource management practices. First, the hard model of human resource management, which emphasizes human resources can be regarded as factors of production, and that human resource management are passive and reactive. As can be seen from the table below, that the basic orientation of hard human resource management is towards instrumental quantitative resource utilization, which means that the emphasis upon the quantitative, calculative, and business strategic aspects of managing the head count in a rational way. The antecedents of human resource management are based on the theory of scientific management. The working of human resource management is based on the strict compliance and controls as envisaged in the rules, and incentives are based on performance in the organization. As compared to the hard model, the second one is soft model of human resource management. The soft model of human resource management emphasizes that human resources should be regarded as value assets. Employees are a source of competitive advantage for the organization and therefore need to be worked upon. Soft HRM's emphasis is proactive and that employees are capable of development. In this model, the role for employees' motivation and commitment lies on the management, and because of this motivation and commitment, employees show better performance, which ultimately improves the performance of the organization. Therefore, it is better to be debated and hence controversial that what exactly does HRM entails. Now we have the features of the hard model of human resource management and soft model of human resource management. First, we will discuss the features of hard model of human resource management. The first feature is orientation. For the orientation, the hard model emphasizes instrumental, quantitative, and resource utilization. The second feature of the hard model is theoretical antecedents. Under this, we have scientific management given by F.W. Taylor. The third feature of hard model is management of employees, which says control and compliance through external means, For example, performance measures, performance related pay, staff appraisal, etc. Then we have the features of soft model of human resource management. The first feature of model of HRM is orientation, which says identification, qualitative and human development. The second feature of this model is theoretical antecedents, which says it is based on human relations, given by Elton Mayo. The third feature of this model is management of the employees, which emphasizes search for commitment and identity through shared values, common interest and self-control, for example, quality circles. Now the question is, which is the most effective style of human resource management? The central controversy lies in the question of whether hard and soft model are equally effective. HRM style to work intensification and greater demands on the employment relationship by the organization at the expense of the employees, or which model is the best? Hard human resource management can be defined in terms of particular policies that stress a cost minimization strategy with an emphasis on leanness in production, the use of labor as a resource, and what Legge calls utilitarian instrumentalism in the employment relationship. This model emphasizes short-term strategic gain, while we have soft human resource management that says developmental humanism, in which the individual is integrated into a work process that values trust, commitment and communication. Soft model of human resource management is based and implemented to complement a long-term strategy. Hence, each style serves a purpose and is effective when used in the right scenario. Legge is of the opinion that the models are not mutually exclusive. Hard human resource management variants can contain elements of soft practice, while soft variants can be criticized that they can be held to deliver hard outcomes in terms of the tightness of the fit with business strategy. Both of these styles add value to an organization as they possess different characteristics. Ulrich demonstrates that regardless of which method, either hard or soft human resource management, the ultimate goal of the department is to help in competitive advantage by incorporating human resource management techniques in the corporate planning process. This role, as per him, is the role of business partner. This can be achieved through an array of methods and is not restrictive to a singular technique. Now the question arises, is there any difference between personnel management and human resource management? The human resource management derives its roots from the traditional personnel management. Many commentators have suggested that human resource management is just a grander term for a mundane function representing old wine in new bottle. Others have argued that human resource management reflects a shift in employment relations made necessary by changes in the organizational environment. As per definition, personnel management captures three central concepts. First, engaging in techniques to maximize productivity by employees to the benefit of the organization. Second, dealing with any disputes that may arise during the course of business by the employee or a third party. Third, undertake any administrative policies which fall within the employment cycle. By contrast, the overarching purpose of human resource management is to contribute to organizational effectiveness through the development of an integrated range of policies. It can be defined as personnel management is that part of management function which is concerned with human relationship within the organization. Its objective is the maintenance of those relationships on a basis which, by consideration of the well-being of the individual, enables all those engaged in the undertaking to make their maximum possible potential contribution to the effective working of the organization. The maintenance and effective use of facilities for joint consultation between employers and employees and between their representatives and of recognized procedures for the settlement of disputes. Legge identifies four similarities between the personnel management and human resource management practices. First, both emphasize integrating with organizational goals. Both vest firmly in line management. Both stress maximizing individual potential. Both stress putting the right people into the right jobs. The human resource management function clearly encompasses the personnel role within the organization. Thus, there is an element of overlap. This lends justification to commentators who might argue that these movements are one in the same. Though the contemporary management style as a whole is far more integrated into the organization strategy and is business focused, which did not happen under personnel management. The development of personnel management is linked to post Second World War government economic policies, that is Keynesianism, and the introduction of employment law, government intervention in the workplace. The decade of 1990 to 2000 witnessed a series of trends including globalization, intensified competition, and technological innovation. Human resource management was developed with the realization that human capital lay at the foundations of organizational survival and competitive advantage in an era when all other competitive drives could be replicated. Hence, in the light of these global industrial changes, the role of the personnel department evolved from the largely administrative function to one which supported and was integrated into the core of organizational strategy, which served as the function of human resource management. Now we make a summary of the Ulrich human resource model. The Ulrich human resource model, a common way to look at human resource management strategic planning, provides an overall view of the role of human resource management in the organization. His model is said to have started the movement that changed the view of human resources, no longer merely a functional area. Human resources now has become more of a partner within the organization. His newly revised model looks at 5 main areas of human resources. First, strategic partner. Partnership with the entire organization to ensure alignment of the human resource function with the needs of the organization. Change agent. The skill to anticipate and respond to change within the human resource function but company as a whole. Third, administrative expert and functional expert. The ability to understand and implement policies, procedures, and processes that relate to human resource strategic plan. Fourth, human capital developer. This is a means to develop talent that is projected to be needed in the future. And finally, it advocates the employee friendliness and it works for employees' betterment and welfare, working currently with the organization. Now here the question arises, to what extent human resource management can be implemented in the firms? Is the strategic input human resource management provides beneficial to the organization? The extent to which human resource management has come to play a role in the direction and planning of the organizations, and whether it provides any added benefit has been a persistent theme. It is this strategic emphasis which has been acclaimed as being one of the longest controversies in the human resource management debate. Historical evidences has suggested that human resource department has a secondary role in terms of the organizational hierarchy. This can be seen as 3/4 of large organizations do not have a human resource. Recent controversies can be noted over the two strategic approaches to the way that human resource management has developed its strategic intentions to help the direction and planning of the organizations. The first remains centered on macro strategic issues and the general location of human resource management within the organization structure overall. This issue can be summarized into whether human resource management has a seat on the board. Now we are going to make a summary of what we have learned so far. Prior to world wars, the personnel function was prevalent where the record keeping of the employees was the main aspect of it. But after World War II, the productivity of the employees and thus profitability are directly related to the motivational levels of the employees, and hence the human relations movement started. Secondly, typical human resource management programs involves things like record keeping, recruiting, selection, training, employee relation and compensation. Thirdly, human resource management is an area of management which is ever accommodating, including changes which show up during the transformation phase. Fourthly, the basic themes in human resource management are emphasis on productivity through people, working environment, change management, creation of learning organization, creation of knowledge management, declining role of trade unions, and international human resource management. Then we have discussed different controversies in the very evolution of the definition of the human resource management. And we have also seen that whether there is difference between personnel management and human resource management. Then we have discussed about the controversies relating to the hard model of human resource management and soft model of human resource management. And finally, we have discussed that human resource management can be implemented in the present day scenario, implementing by the organization and to what extent.